Good evening and thanks for joining us. Finally, some dignity for those who died on board that plane shot down over Ukraine. Some of their bodies, it's not clear how many, are being handed over to a team from the Netherlands and will soon begin their journey home. And the plane's voice and data recorders, the so-called black boxes, they'll be sent to England to be analyzed by British aviation experts. Forensic specialists are finally at the crime scene and they've discovered just how much the wreckage has been tampered with. Our Mike Armstrong is watching it all for us from Ukraine tonight. Mike?
Well, Donna, some shocking news tonight. We were told yesterday 282 bodies had been recovered by rebels and loaded onto that train. We're hearing tonight they are now in the possession of Dutch authorities and that number would be closer to 200. That would mean 100 bodies are still missing. There is, however, some good news. The 200 that have been recovered have begun their journey home. The refrigeration train carrying the bodies pulled into Kharkiv this morning. It is now in territory controlled by the Ukrainian government. The bodies will be flown to the Netherlands in the coming days for identification. Malaysian officials are now on the ground for the first time, escorted today by international observers and armed rebels. It's basically an advance party evaluating needs and security, a senior Malaysian Airways official and 2 government inspectors. Parts of the trip today were gruesome.
We have to say as well that we've observed still the existence of smaller body parts on this site.
Observers say there is no recovery going on at any of the crash sites and no security protecting the scenes either. Some parts of the wreckage, they say, has been seriously damaged, even hacked apart with diesel saws. While they won't say whether it was intentional tampering by rebels, the Australian Prime Minister isn't holding back.
After the crime comes the cover-up. What we have seen is evidence tampering on an industrial scale.
Tony Abbott is calling for a multinational force to protect the site, a group that would be led by countries, he says, that have been wronged. Now, experts on aircraft crashes are losing confidence that a proper investigation can ever take place. Reconstruction may be impossible with so much of the wreckage scattered about and no one documenting or collecting it. This is a piece we found in a village propped up against a telephone pole. It appears to be a part of the exterior of the cockpit and, according to an expert, would be of vital interest to investigators. The damage appears consistent with the Buk missile.
They will set off an explosive proximity charge at about 60 feet from the target. So you're sending a whole load of pieces of metal at about 2,000 miles an hour towards the target, which is really going to knock it out very quickly.
While the rebels and Ukrainians say there is a ceasefire in effect around the crash site, the hostilities continue not far away. Rebels claim today to have turned back a Ukrainian offensive, soldiers trying to enter Donetsk. We killed them with anti-tank guns, he says. This is the first tank we've destroyed. Ukraine's deputy prime minister is making it clear the goal is to retake the region from rebels. He says they need the territory so they can examine every square meter. Russian President Vladimir Putin is blasting Ukraine for ratcheting up the conflict. He says the offensive here in Donetsk yesterday endangered the lives of international observers, but it is Putin himself tonight who is under pressure. Foreign leaders are urging him to exert his influence on the rebels to force them to allow a proper investigation. Also today, the EU announced new sanctions against Russia. Donna?
All right, Mike Armstrong in Ukraine. Thank you.